When you imagine some moss, what do you think of? You're probably thinking of the green fuzzy stuff that you sometimes step on when you're walking outside. This green fuzzy stuff is the gametophyte or haploid generation in a moth's life cycle. Let's zoom in a bit more into the gametophyte. These are the Antheridia and Archegonia, which are both haploid or 1N. Inside the Antheridia, sperm is made through mitosis, which means that each sperm is still a haploid. Inside the Archegonia, haploid eggs are produced. When there is water, the sperm can travel to fertilize the eggs inside the archegonia. 1N plus 1N makes 2N. In other words, the zygote that forms is diploid. We are moving into the sporophyte part of the life cycle. The zygote grows into a sporophyte, which is like a fun little hat for the gametophyte. As you can see, there's the feet, seta, and capsule. Through meiosis, the diploid sporophyte makes haploid spores. The capsule has a mouth-like opening that opens and closes, which makes sure the spores are released only when the environmental conditions are right. These haploid spores can now disperse and grow into more fuzzy green stuff or gametophyte. It has the ability to photosynthesize and is present for the majority of the moss's life cycle, so in mosses, the gametophyte is dominant. The gametophyte will produce more sporophyte, which will in turn produce more gametophyte, and so on. Now, let's think about some conifers. You'll probably picture a Christmas tree. This is a sporophyte or diploid generation. The tree photosynthesizes using its needles. Sometimes, you might also see some cones on a tree. These cones produce the haploid or gametophyte generation. Most conifers are monoecious, which means that you can find male and female cones on the same tree. Male or microsporangiate cones are small and usually near the bottom of a tree. Female or ovulate cones are large and usually located higher up on a tree. This helps to prevent self-pollination. Inside of male cones, diploid microsporocytes undergo meiosis to form haploid spores or pollen. Similarly, inside of female cones, a diploid megasporocyte undergoes meiosis to form haploid megaspores. Integument, a diploid seed coat, is a new evolutionary feature that makes the gymnosperms the first seeded plants. The micropyle is where sperm enters the egg. Unlike mosses, conifers don't need water for fertilization. Instead, wind blows the pollen into the female cones where fertilization occurs. This difference is likely due to the fact that mosses evolved earlier, so they're more like aquatic plants or algae, while conifers have evolved to survive and reproduce on land where there's less water for fertilization. Once a female cone gets fertilized, it can stay on a tree for several years until it's mature. When it's mature, it will release its seeds. These seeds, which are diploid due to fertilization and are part of the sporophyte generation, get spread around and grow into a tree. The tree gets larger through mitosis, which increases the number of cells it has, but doesn't change the ploidy, or number of chromosomes. A mature tree will form cones that produce the gametophyte or haploid generation. This haploid generation combines through fertilization to make diploid seeds that will grow into more trees, and so on. One big difference between the moss and conifer life cycles is that in the mosses, the gametophyte or haploid generation is present most of the time and is photosynthetic. This makes the gametophyte the dominant generation. In the conifers, however, it's sporophyte or diploid generation that's present most of the time and photosynthesizes. As plants evolved and adapted from aquatic environments to drier land environments, there's a big shift in dominance from gametophyte to sporophyte. One possible explanation for this is that the diploid organism has more genetic variation, so it can produce more genetically varied offspring through meiosis. This helps the offspring survive in challenging environments.